if I enter the flow. Symbols in the air, let the currents grow. Sigils carved in silence, intentions unfold. In the void my will takes hold. Invocations whisper, shadows call.
All right, let's dive into something a little bit different today.
Yeah.
We're going to be taking a deep dive into chaos magic.
Ooh.
Yeah, and specifically, we're going to be looking at this book, Hands-on Chaos Magic. Have you heard much about chaos magic before?
I have, yeah. It's really kind of picked up steam in recent years. It's really interesting because it's kind of like this anti-dogma system of magic.
Right.
So it's not really about adhering to these strict beliefs or hierarchies or anything like that.
So no dusty old grimoires or joining secret societies.
Not really, no. It's much more about the individual practitioners' experiences, their own personal beliefs. And it's about finding out what really works for you in your own magical practice.
And that's really kind of what this book leans into, right? Hands-on chaos magic.
Absolutely.
It's a very practical guide to actually using these ideas.
Exactly. And there are so many different techniques and concepts that are involved in chaos magic. Sigils, gnosis, working with entities. It can seem pretty overwhelming at first.
Yeah, that's why we're here, right?
Right.
So we're going to hopefully unpack some of that for everybody listening and give a good overview and some interesting things to think about.
Yeah, hopefully spark some insights, right?
Exactly. So are you ready to get a little chaotic?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Perfect. Now, one of the most well-known techniques in chaos magic is the use of sigils. And this book describes them as personalized symbols that you're basically charging with your intention.
Yeah. So say you have a desire. So you want to feel more confident in social situations, for instance. So you would first boil that desire down to like one word, maybe a short phrase.
Right. So it's not just, I want to be more confident. It's like, what's the essence of that? Like inner strength or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You would then transform that word or phrase into an abstract symbol, and that becomes your sigil. And it acts as this vessel for your intention.
So then how do you actually like use it? You don't just like draw it on a piece of paper and hope for the best. Right?
No, you have to activate it, and that's where gnosis comes in. And gnosis is a state of really intense focus. Some might even call it an altered state of consciousness.
So is it like meditation, or is it something more like, well, chaotic?
Well, there are different ways to achieve gnosis. So meditation is definitely one. But there are other ways as well, like sensory deprivation, even as the book mentions, like emotional overload.
Wow.
So the idea is to basically bypass your conscious mind and really tap into that subconscious level where the magic is thought to happen.
And the book even suggests something as simple as like putting a sigil for like financial abundance on like a dollar bill and letting it go out into the world.
Exactly. Yeah, the method of launching the sigil is really up to you, whatever fits the intention. What's interesting here is that chaos magic really emphasizes experimentation.
So it's not like a one-size-fits-all approach.
Not at all.
Yeah.
It encourages you to try different techniques.
Yeah.
See what gives you results. Now, this is where things get a little tricky, ethically speaking, because you could theoretically use these techniques for intentions that are not so positive.
Right, because if you can harness this power for good, you could also harness it for, I don't know, less than honorable purposes.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's where that personal responsibility really comes in. Chaos magic is about owning that power and making sure that it's being used ethically.
So it's kind of like being given this really powerful tool. You can do amazing things with it, but you could also really misuse it.
Exactly.
Hi, Pratis and Sorries. Here I came to you to explain why and what it's all about. It's not only about chaos magic, but I can say in stages I will send a lot of videos about one or other subject until finish it. So someone who care about those books and search for information about it can learn or can have some information about it. So please follow up the channel here in the
Chaos Magic Time.
That kind of ties into another big thing that this book emphasizes, which is the power of belief, right?
Right. The idea that your reality is really being shaped by your perceptions, your intentions, what you believe has the potential to become your reality.
But it's not just wishful thinking, though, right?
No.
It's not like you can just sit there and just wish for $1 million to appear.
It's more about actively shaping your perception.
Okay.
You know, if you believe you're capable of achieving something and you work towards that, you're much more likely to see those results. It's about taking responsibility for your reality and understanding that your beliefs play a huge role.
Now, I'm curious about the role of entities in chaos magic.
Yeah.
I think that's where things start to get really interesting and maybe a little bit more challenging to wrap our heads around.
Yeah, for sure. Chaos magic has a unique view of entities. It's not necessarily about these like external beings that exist independently of us, like in other systems, you know, like angels or demons or something like that.
So they're not these all-powerful beings that we're, trying to summon or bargain with or something?
Not exactly. In chaos magic, entities are often seen as extensions of your own psyche or constructs of belief. So, for example, you might visualize an entity, tell stories about it, or even imbue an object with its energy.
So, like, I could create an entity that embodies, like, creativity or focus and work with that.
Exactly. The book actually cautions against just blindly following pre-existing systems when it comes to entities.
Okay.
You know, it encourages you to work with entities that resonate with your personal beliefs. But again, ethical considerations are really important here.
Right, that responsibility thing again. Even though they're kind of extensions of ourselves, we still need to be really mindful of the power that we're working with.
Yeah. And that really ties into what I think is like maybe the most fascinating principle of chaos magic, which is this idea of experimentation and adaptation. So it's all about, trying different techniques, seeing what works, and adapting your approach based on your experiences.
So you're constantly refining your methods.
Exactly. You might start with one technique for gnosis and then discover another that works way better for you, or you create an entity for one purpose, but then realize it needs tweaking to really be effective.
Right.
So it's this constant process of learning and evolving.
This all sounds amazing, but I think a lot of people listening are probably thinking, okay, how does this translate to everyday life? Like, it's cool to talk about these concepts, but like, how does it actually make a difference?
Well, let's go back to that idea that your reality is shaped by your beliefs. If you really embrace that concept, then chaos magic becomes this way to consciously shape your life. It's not about passively accepting things. It's about taking an active role in creating the life you want.
That's so empowering.
Yeah.
But, with great power comes great responsibility.
Right.
We've talked about the ethics. What are some ways that this could go wrong?
Well, the misuse of any magical practice could have unintended consequences. So let's say someone uses sigils for personal gain at the expense of others, or they try to manipulate someone's free will. That's not something chaos magic endorses.
Right. So you need to have like a pretty strong moral compass.
Absolutely. And self-awareness, too. Chaos magic encourages you to really look inward, examine your own beliefs, your biases, your motivations before you start working with these techniques. It's about aligning your intentions with your highest good and being mindful of the impact your actions have.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
This seems like it's right up your alley. Have you ever personally experimented with any of this stuff?
I've always been drawn to systems that really emphasize personal experience and exploration. And what I find really compelling about chaos magic is that it's always evolving.
Yeah.
It encourages you to kind of find your own path, your own unique ways of working with these principles. So it's not about dogma or rigid rules. It's about personal discovery and growth.
Yeah. It's like you're constantly kind of pushing the boundaries of what's possible, which is really exciting.
Right.
And this book, Hands-on Chaos Magic, really does a great job of giving you that foundation, that starting point.
Yeah, it's like a toolbox filled with all sorts of techniques and ideas. It's up to you to decide which tools you want to use and how you want to apply them. It even goes into exploring the power of language and storytelling in magical practice.
Well, that's something I wanted to ask you about. How does that all fit in?
Well, think about how we use language every day. We use it to describe our experiences, to shape our understanding of the world, to communicate with each other.
Yeah.
And in chaos, magic language is seen as a powerful tool for creating change. So you can use words to craft spells, to write affirmations, to tell stories that support your magical intentions.
So like the way we talk about things actually influences our reality.
Exactly. And stories are powerful too.
Right.
They can help you visualize your desires, create a narrative that reinforces your goals, and even tap into archetypes and symbols that resonate with your subconscious mind.
It's like scripting your own reality. It's so cool. There's one more thing I wanted to mention from the book that really stood out to me.
Okay.
It talked about embracing failure as a learning opportunity,
Yeah.
which seems so counterintuitive when we're talking about magic.
It's a really important point because, whether you're practicing magic or just navigating life, you're going to encounter setbacks. Chaos magic teaches you to view those setbacks not as failures, but as valuable feedback.
Right.
It's a chance to analyze what happened, adjust your approach, and try again with a new understanding.
That's a really powerful way to reframe it.
Yeah.
It takes away some of the fear of failure and it turns it into like a stepping stone.
Right. It encourages you to be resilient, adaptable, and constantly learning.
That's such an important lesson, I think.
Greetings, everyone. I need to ask for your understanding because making one video in English and another in Portuguese every day is very complicated, especially because the power is very unstable here where I am in Campos do Jordão. Given this situation, I am forced to make only one video a day, Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday in English, while on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays I will make them in Portuguese. I am sorry that I cannot offer the same videos more consistently, but the simultaneous execution of other projects require this, and I cannot handle everything at the same time alone. If this bothers you, leave your comments below so that I can find another alternative that may be more interesting for everyone. After all, it seems that it is unfeasible, even for you viewers, to see a different video every day given the increasing drop in views, the more I insist on making one video a day. Well, the most important thing is for you to give your opinion in the comments, knowing that next Monday the videos in Portuguese will start a new cycle, leaving the sequence of videos of works related to the Necronomicon. Hugs. Bye.
So we've covered a lot of ground today, from sigils and gnosis to entities and the power of belief. But as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, what's the biggest takeaway you want our listeners to walk away with?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is that chaos magic is really a journey of self-discovery.
Yeah, it's not about just learning a bunch of techniques.
Yeah.
It's about like exploring your own potential and shaping your reality in this really conscious and intentional way.
Exactly.
And this book, Hands-On Chaos Magic, really does a great job of giving you the tools and guidance to kind of embark on that journey.
It's a fantastic starting point.
But the real magic, I think, begins when you start actually experimenting and adapting and integrating these principles into your own life.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of people listening are probably feeling inspired right now, but also a little bit overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Like, where do you even begin with all of this?
Well, I would say the first step is to just cultivate curiosity. Read, research, explore different perspectives on chaos magic. But don't just take everything at face value.
Question everything.
Exactly. Find what resonates with you personally.
Yeah.
Because at its core, chaos magic is all about personal experience.
It's not about blindly following dogma.
It's about forging your own path.
So start small,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Try some simple techniques like sigil magic, keep a journal, track your progress, your insights, even your setbacks, because they're going to happen.
Yeah, setbacks are inevitable.
Yeah, they're not failures.
They're just opportunities to learn and grow.
Yeah, it's all part of the process. Now, as you're kind of delving deeper into this world, it's super important to remember the ethics and the responsibility that comes with it.
Right.
We've touched on this a few times, but it bears repeating.
Yeah, absolutely.
You are dealing with really powerful forces, whether you're working with sigils or gnosis or entities.
So use them wisely.
Yeah, with respect for yourself and for others.
Be mindful of the impact that your actions can have.
And finally, remember to have fun with it.
Yes.
Chaos magic is about exploration, creativity, and personal empowerment.
It's about pushing the boundaries of what you think is possible.
And discovering the magic that lies within you.
Absolutely.
So, as we leave you today, we want to leave you with this thought.
If reality is truly shaped by our beliefs, what kind of reality do you want to create?
Yeah, it's something to think about.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into chaos magic.
We hope it sparked your curiosity and maybe inspired you to explore this path a little bit further.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
Energy rises, I stand tall. Fragmented pages, cryptic and wild, unveil the secrets of the inner child. Hands on chaos, we shake the flame. In the dance of energy, we're never the same. Mind, body, and soul aligned. Through ritual, we're reborn, redefined. Invocations whispered, shadows call. Energy rises, I stand tall. Fragmented pages, cryptic and wild.